All right, this is John Cola with OKRaw.com. Today we have another exciting episode for you, and where we are today on this beautiful spring-like day is Anaheim, California. I'm here for the 2015 Natural Products Expo West, and this is literally the trade show for the health food industry. You know, all the different health food store owners come here, and different manufacturers and people come here to find all the latest products in the health food industry. And these are many of the products that you may be soon finding on your health food store shelves. That being said, this is my 20th year eating a raw plant-based diet, and let me tell you, from what I know and my study of health through all these past years, you know, there's a lot of like processed food products that aren't necessarily optimally healthy. So what I always encourage you guys to do, no matter what you're eating, you know, is to increase and better your diet. And yes, it's totally true that some of the products in here may help the standard American increase and better their diet. But, you know, I think, you know, the direct point to 2 points, you know, 2 places is a straight line. So why take zigzags? You know, I just want everybody to eat more fresh fruits and vegetables. That being said, you know, I've walked the whole show floor. This expo is larger than ever. It's the largest one I've ever seen. There's more people than when I started coming to these, I don't know, 10, 15 years ago. It's completely insane. They're checking IDs, they're making sure, you know, people are legit, which is really good. But there's a lot of booths, and I've walked the whole entire show floor over the last 2 days, and I'm gonna go ahead and share only with you guys a handful of booths that I think are the most beneficial for somebody living a natural, you know, plant-based, raw style diet. So anyways, with that, let's go ahead and go inside the Natural Products Expo and share with you guys what's inside. So now I'm inside the Natural Products Expo West 2015, and this place is huge. It's the size of several football fields, and there's so many different booths to go through. What I'm gonna do next for you guys is actually show you guys the best booths, the booths that I think will help you the most and I find the most interesting at this year's 2015 Natural Products Expo. So let's go ahead and take a look around. So now I'm excited to share with you guys a really cool booth that I found here. It's actually the Cultured and Spicy booth, and what they're offering are unique, something I've never seen before, cultured and spicy fermented foods that you could add as condiments and actually add to like fresh fruits and fresh vegetables to make yourself a gourmet chef and take it to the next level with fermented foods that are rich in beneficial probiotics and a whole bunch of other nutrients. So let's go over and take a look at some of these unique flavors that I've never seen before in culture. All right, so as you guys can see, here's a whole selection of different probiotic condiments, and this is like beyond fermented foods. You know, I like to use some sauerkraut and kimchi, but the flavors in some of these products, like the lime, chili, cilantro probiotic salsa, the ginger mint saffron probiotic condiment, the citrus ginger curry probiotic chutney, the exotic 5-spice probiotic condiment, the lemon dill probiotic mustard, and the herbs de Provence probiotic condiment are amazing. I want to go ahead and try this guy right here. Like, mustard is something I really like, and look at this stuff. All these guys are based on basically garlic and onions, which are very high in antioxidant properties, but also, due to some research I've seen, are like cancer preventative. So you want to include some of these in your diet, in my opinion, regularly. I mean, I like to include some, you know, fairly often. And wow, man, this is insane. Fermented foods is an excellent way to do that. And a little bit of this stuff, let me tell you guys, goes a long way. So how I would use some of this stuff is actually take a little bit of this and you know, put it into my salad dressing to really, you know, give my salad dressing that extra pop, you know, that umami flavor that many people don't get when they don't include the cultured foods in their diet. These guys are like, you know, gluten-free, raw, vegan. You know, a lot of the inputs are locally sourced. This is made in California, naturally fermented. This stuff is awesome. So to learn more about the Cultured and Saucy products, you want to check out the website culturedandsaucy.com. So now I'm at the booth of Keri Care, and what they do is amazing. I don't know about you guys, but I get like a lot of cuts and scrapes and all this kind of stuff, and you know, I'll put on Band-Aids, and Band-Aids don't really like allow your hands to breathe, and they get kind of funky because they get all smelly and all kinds of weird stuff. And one of the products I have used in the past is like the like paint on Band-Aids, right? But those things, when I put it on, it burns, and that's because those things are basically acetone based. It's like nail polish remover or super glue that you're putting on your skin. It's sealing it, but it's burning at the same time. And I want you guys, besides eating a natural based diet, you know, use things that are more natural, right? Whether that's completely all natural and put some aloe vera and stuff on your things, or use something like this where, you know, it's a water-based, natural, literally Band-Aid for your skin. And literally what you do is you get cut or you have cracks or you have eczema, you can just spray this stuff on and it forms a little layer, a covering. This actually can also be used on pets, you know, if they have, you know, minor cuts and abrasions, or if you got kids and they scrape their knee or whatever. And this will form a little barrier and make a nice seal so that it's like literally gonna protect and heal faster. And check this out. This stuff is very useful if you guys have some of these different conditions, you know, things like cuts and scrapes, even things like cold sores, eczema, burns, bites, tears, psoriasis, or even like cracked heels. You know, this basically gets in there and forms a protective seal, will stop the pain, it seals the nerve endings so that you could go on with your life. And so I like products like this because they can come in handy. I mean, I would recommend everybody, and I know I'm taking one of these guys, and it's actually going in my carry-on bag because this is a nice little small size, good to have for traveling and when in emergencies. So if you want to learn more about this product, you need to check them out at kericure.com. So now I'm so excited to get to share with you guys a really cool booth, probably one of the coolest ones I found here, because it helps you guys with a problem that you guys, you know, that may have, that eat lots of fruits and vegetables. No, not athlete's foot. It's right there. It's actually called Aunt Fannie's Fly Punch. And what they do is they kick ass on fruit flies that you may have. You know, I mean, I go through a lot of bananas and different fruits, and sometimes, you know, I'm not quite on it and they rot a little bit, and then it attracts fruit flies, and those guys breed, multiply, and divide and can seem like take over, and they're such a nuisance in the kitchen, right? And I've made many of the different home remedy things and catch fruit flies and stuff, and sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, but I still got some left, and it pisses me off to no avail. But if it pisses you off like it pisses me off, you're gonna definitely want this product because it can be 1,000 times more effective than just anything that you guys make at home. So this will get rid of your fruit flies. It's university tested and researched, and even so popular that, you know, this home product is now being used in commercial wine industries and in fruit orchards to control fruit flies because it is more effective than other, you know, different kind of traps and lures out there. So let's go ahead and take a look at Aunt Fannie's Fruit Fly Punch. So check it out. This is what Aunt Fannie's Fruit Fly Punch looks like. I mean, it just looks like a little spice jar. So this will look good in your kitchen. Unlike, you know, I've made plenty of funky jars that have some funky funnel top and vinegar, and it stinks and, you know, looks weird. This actually just hides the fact that you're actually trapping fruit flies. So yeah, trade shows are a sterile environment, but they had one open, and this is like, you know, flies on honey. No, flies on shit. That's what it is. That's what it's like. Better than flies on shit. But check it out. You guys open this up. There's a little small top. And I mean, they've taken all the different aspects of trapping fruit flies down to a science, right? The size of the container and the opening and all this stuff, it really matters, and it's been university tested. So that's super huge, super important. And one of the cool things, like I have one of those vinegar traps actually at my house because I have some issues with fruit flies. And I was sitting next to it, you know, working next to the computer, and that stuff stank, man. And when you open this up, I mean, if you're right on it, you could smell it up close, and it smells maybe like vinegar, but some other stuff, because they got some specially proprietary ingredients that they will not disclose, because they got chemists and all kinds of people working on this, and it really works. So trap the fruit fly, and I'm gonna be using this stuff so that I'll eliminate my fruit fly issues. Now, the coolest thing about, you know, many of the products that I share with you guys, like, you know, one of the last products I showed with the lady had that little spray bandage stuff. You know, she had a personal concern. Her husband got staph infection because of his, you know, using not the proper bandage. So she wanted to create something natural that he could use. And just like with this company, you know, the owner had issues with fruit flies in his very kitchen, and he was using products and they weren't working well. And he's like, man, how can we do this better? And that's when he really dove in and to find out the best ingredients to make a fruit fly trap that works effectively. And then, you know, his friends would have problems with fruit flies, and he's like, yeah, man, I'll brew some of that stuff up for you guys. And then, you know, that just kind of grew and grew, and now he's able to provide this for you guys so that you guys can end your fruit fly problems once and for all. So if you want to cure your fruit fly problems once and for all, you want to visit them at auntfannie.com. Get one of these awesome fruit fly traps. So as you guys have seen, you know, I really haven't had a whole lot of raw food products like dried packaged products, kale chips and all that kind of stuff in my video. I had a few, you know, that are completely new, different and unique, and some of the ones top of the class. What I really want to teach you guys and desire to teach you guys is to eat more fruits and vegetables, you know, like, you know, and Tribest, the company that we're going to take a look at next, has a few products that makes that easy for you guys, including they're introducing a brand new dehydrator this time, all new revised blender, high power blender at the lowest cost that has no plastic contact, as well as an all new horizontal juicer that's excellent for juicing greens. So let's go head over to the Tribest booth and show you guys these 3 new products. So first I want to show you guys this guy. This is the all new Sedona Express Dehydrator, and this is a, in my opinion, improved model of their Sedona, which is all the way down to the back. And the combo unit will come either in with stainless steel trays, which is nice. This is the first Sedona with the stainless steel trays, or it'll also come with the plastic trays. In addition, as you guys see, it has a little LED light that lights up when you open it, so you can kind of see what's going on inside your dark dehydrator. And in addition, from the original Sedona and the Sedona combo, the fan in the rear of the dehydrator has been increased, so the airflow has been improved, as well as the technology being used. And I want to let you guys know this uses special technology called TST, and that's basically two temperature technology, which will decrease your dehydration time. So for example, if you're dehydrating apples or tomatoes, you could put it in at 130 degrees for 2 hours. You're like, John, wait, man, I'm a raw foodist, man. If I put it at 130, it's cooked. Cooked. Well, not exactly, because the temperature of the food that you just put in, if it's full of water, is not going to hit 118 degrees because it has to evaporate all the moisture off first. So that's why you could dehydrate at a hotter temperature. I like to use 130 for about 2 hours, and then I drop it down to like 118, you know, for the rest of the time. And unlike other dehydrators that you actually have to set at a lower temperature to get to 118, all the Sedona models actually have a raw mode, which means you set it at 118, it's never going to exceed 118 degrees, and I can't say that for other dehydrators on the market. Virtually all other dehydrators on the market, you set it for 118, you know, it's gonna get hotter than 118, and that's not good, especially if you're into raw foods. The other thing I really like about the Sedona Express unit is that now it has a full 10-year warranty. The original Sedonas had a 5-year warranty, so this is double the warranty, and this is your assurance that you'll be having a dehydrator for many years. In addition, it has a nice compact design. It's not as wide, it's more narrow, and I really like the door that opens out instead of the door that opens down. So this is one product you're going to want to look for soon at discountjuicers.com. So now what we're looking at is Tribest all new horizontal single auger juice. You know, you want to get a horizontal single auger juice if you want to primarily juice greens and vegetables with little fruits, right? And this has been completely redesigned. It's new and it's different. I mean, the main thing is this is the lowest RPM horizontal juicer on the market at this time, or that I've ever seen. It runs at 57 RPM, revolutions per minute. It has increased torque over other models, and it uses less energy. So I really like that a lot. In addition, Tribest has now increased the warranty to a full 15 years, which is the longest warranty in the juicing industry. And they've redesigned this whole attachment and end cap piece here because they did have some challenges with the previous model. This model also has the largest screen area of any horizontal single auger juicer, and in general what this means, more screen area means more yield for the juice, so this will be more effective. You know, I look forward to testing this soon because this will not be out, you know, for a couple months. So the last product for this year at the Natural Products Expo West trade show for Tribest is this guy. It's the Dynablend blender, and you know, basically the Dynablend has been out for a while, but now they made it all new, all better by basically improving it. And so I like that a lot. And if you already own a original Dynablend, you know, for a small upgrade charge, they will get you the new update. And so the Dynablend is basically a glass carafe blender, and the new update they had is this bottom piece here. Let me go ahead and pull this out so you guys can see that. Let's see if I can get it out. The piece at the bottom is now all stainless steel. So previously this was plastic. In addition, the bottom part here is now metal instead of plastic. So this is much more resilient. And so for the people that are really concerned about, you know, plastic getting in contact with their food, like in other brand blenders, you know, this is not an issue with the Dynablend Clean Blender. You know, this is 1.1 horsepower. It sufficiently has enough power to grind up all your different fruits and vegetables, much better than the standard household blender. Now, will it be as good as the Vitamix? Well, this thing is like 1/3 the price of a Vitamix, so it's not gonna be as good of a Vitamix. But I could guarantee you this, if you want a blender that has no plastic contact, this is the most powerful one you will find, and especially one that has a full 10-year warranty. You know, that's longer than the Vitamix, longer than the Blendtec, so that you'll be blending fresh green smoothies and other things for many years to come. Now, this one won't be available for a couple more months now, but when it is available, we'll have it at discountjuicers.com. So yeah, be sure to check that out. Subscribe to my other YouTube channel, Raw Foods, and I'll have a video on it as soon as it is available, and I'll be reviewing it and doing some in-depth testing to let you guys know how it works. All right, so now I get to share with you guys another really cool booth here. It's actually behind me. It's actually called the Miron Violetglass, and as you guys know, many of you guys that have been watching me for any period of time, I've been doing this now for 20 years, and I try to share with you guys on YouTube the best of what I know, you know, at no cost at all, so that you guys could, you know, live a healthier lifestyle. You know, and what I'm going to share with you guys next is a little bit far out there, but you know, once again, I'm bringing you guys the best of what I know, and know literally like not very few people share this kind of knowledge online for you guys at no cost. So what we're going to share with you guys next is a Miron Violetglass, and this is the best glass technology to store your fruits and vegetables and spices and any kind of foods, and even your water in, to you know, minimally keep its same level of vibrancy or life force, but maybe even increase it. So let's go ahead and check out the Miron glass booth. All right, so as you guys can see, this is some of the Miron Violetglass, and this stuff, man, this stuff is just sexy, right? I mean, it just looks really cool. I mean, the color imparts a different frequency, and the glass is made up of quartz and different kind of mineral pigment colorants that make this. Now, the special thing besides just the color is that, you know, it doesn't let the visible light spectrum in. So I'll go ahead and pop up a picture of the visible light spectrum that's being blocked by this, that even something like the darker brown glass, you know, would let through, you know, more than like a clear glass. So that's really cool. Now, I've been using this stuff for the last like 2-3 years to put like water in a glass bottle, and I have to tell you, you know, if I put good water in a glass bottle in the sun in one of these Miron bottles, and then I take it and drink it, it tastes even better than what I started with. And I don't know the exact phenomenon that happens, and you know, there's Carillion photography that's done on many of the different products that are put in here, and that's one way to explain it, to see like the actual energy vibration. But I mean, another thing is just a plain test. So you can literally take a tomato, and you know, a cherry tomato, put it in a little jar like this, and put it in a clear jar, and the tomato in the clear jar will basically rot. The one in the Miron glass won't rot. And you know, you might call this glass like magic. So if there's anything as magical glass, and if you're a gnome, wizard, or elf, this is the glass that you'd likely be using. So what they've done here is actually they've done a test here, and they got this honey. This honey from Germany is a Demeter honey. It's like beyond organic, and it's basically been sitting in the glass for like, I think, 5 years inside double boxes. So really light hasn't got to this, and the test is, and you guys can't do this since you're not here, but we could unscrew the top, and there's the honey, and I'll smell it. And I mean, it smells like honey. It smells like very mild. There's like hardly any smell, any scent. We could go ahead and take this one with the Miron, unscrew this, and there's the honey in there, and I'll smell this. And it smells like much more fragrant, much stronger, like, you know, honey should smell like. So I mean, this is just a smelling test, but you could also do a visual test. So I've been using this to store some of my more valuable, you know, foods that I include in my diet, such as my seaweeds, and I have noticed a difference. So if you want to store your food in the best glass, you definitely want to get the Miron glass. So if you want to learn more about the Miron glass, you want to check out the website Miron, MIRON-glass.com. This is definitely the glass that I would recommend if you want the best glass, and plus it just looks cool too. So now I'm going to share with you guys another booth. It's actually called the Health Matters America. Is a company, and they have the Organic Traditions line that you may have seen even at something like Whole Foods near you. You know, I always encourage you guys to eat good, better, best. In my opinion, you know, freshest is bestest, and fresh fruits and vegetables that you grow in your own, you know, front yard garden are far superior than any kind of packaged raw food product. And if you noticed, you know, I've had really no dried, processed, packaged raw food products in this video until now. And that's because, you know, there's so many different companies selling raw food packaged products, and, you know, a lot of them are just selling like maybe not quite the best stuff. But I'm confident to let you guys know that Jerry, the owner of Health Matters America, who I've known for many years, who's worked in this industry for a long time, has literally, like, you know, picked with a fine-tooth comb some of the finest, you know, raw and not raw and mostly organic products to sell through his company and through his line. So what I do next is actually show you guys some of my favorite products that the Organic Traditions line offers. So the product that drew me to Health Matters America was not one of the products in their Organic Traditions line, which is all their organic label. They also have a Natural Traditions line that's not certified organic, but hopefully is moving in that direction. And it's actually this one right here. This is the one that I really love that you guys gotta try if you've never tried it. I mean, you guys know that have been watching me for a while. I'm really a fan of the freeze-dry fruits, right? It's super delicious. You can check my video. I'll put a link down below for like an awesome raw food cereal with the texture like no other, using all freeze-dried fruits. And I want to see more different freeze-dried fruits available, and I really like to see companies, you know, freeze drying and making them available to you guys so that it's handy for you. Now, yes, freeze-dried fruits, not gonna lie, they're expensive, and fresh is best. It's better to eat fresh pomegranate Aerials than freeze-dried. And I've also had regular dehydrated pomegranate Aerials, which are kind of chewy and the seeds are hard, but the freeze-drying process really extracts all the water and keeps the cellular structure intact and keeps higher levels of nutrients in the food. So on these freeze-dried pomegranate Aerials, I want you guys to check those out. You know, these things are super light and super fluffy. We're gonna go ahead and take a whole bunch here, pour that in, and check this out, man. These are nice and crunchy. Wow. And you would think they're kind of like that astringent pomegranate flavor, but the sensation I'm getting is nice and sweet. Plus, besides the dark pigments in the pomegranate Aerial, you're getting all now the nutrition from the important seed that many people may not eat. And in the freeze-dried form, adds a little bit of fat. And man, this is one of the most enjoyable freeze-dried fruits I've ever tried. Let's go ahead and take a look at some of the more products here at Health Matters America. So aside from having many different common raw food items available, such as the, you know, goji berries that is pretty familiar, you know, they also have really unique fruits that can be very rare and hard to find, including these guys, organic dried Longon fruit. Longon fruit's fresh, one of my favorite tropical fruits to eat, and many of you guys I know have not tried them, especially, you know, if you're not in a tropical location. I want to, you know, warn you guys that many imported Longon fruits sold at Asian markets are probably irradiated, and I do not recommend irradiated fruits. You can get away from this by ensuring that your Longon fruit you buy in the continental United States anyways is grown in Florida. Those are not irradiated at present time. But if you've never had Longon fruit, at least you could try the flavor here in the Organic Traditions dried Longon. So these are sun-dried, low temperature. Nice and chewy. They kind of remind me of one of those like gumdrop candies, you know, like those chewy ones that you may have had when you were a kid. It's good, it's chewy, it's fruity, and it really packs a nice flavorful packed punch, like a really strong Longon flavor. Like, I like Longons because actually they're a very mild fruit, but when you dehydrate it like this, it really intensifies the flavor and it's super delicious. Of course, they have, you know, these guys, black mulberries, which I've had mulberries plenty of times. I love mulberries, they're quite sweet. And I like that they have the black ones. The black ones are increasingly more easy to find, but they still can be quite difficult. And these are some of the best black mulberries that I've tasted. I always want to encourage you guys to eat your foods of color. Super critical, super important. Don't just eat all white foods, you know, eat some black foods, some dark foods, some red foods, some purple foods, some blue foods. And yes, even some green foods that we're gonna move into next. So talking about green foods, one of the green foods you guys, in my opinion, should be getting into, you guys, is right here. And they make it available, is the CBD infusions, and this is the cannabinoid oil, the CBD cannabinoid oil, which is one of the many over 200 different cannabinoids in the cannabis or the hemp plant. And so they extract this, totally legal to buy, and this is not gonna get you high. You're gonna get the beneficial health properties of the CBDs in this supercritical extract. The supercritical extract is probably one of the best ways to extract, you know, nutrients from plants because it's at low temperature. This is super important. And then more so, besides the supercritical, which many places do, you know, Jerry adds in ice cold pressed olive oil, coconut oil, and some supercritically extracted rosemary oil to preserve it. So this is like the completest, most natural CBD oil you're ever gonna find. Now, besides just extracting the CBD oil from the hemp, they also do the full spectrum supercritically extracted turmeric powder. And this stuff is super powerful and super potent. You know, turmeric's a very powerful anti-inflammatory agent. I always encourage you guys to get the fresh turmeric and eat it, juice it, however you can get it into. And some of you guys might not be able to do this, and you know, while curry powder is good, this stuff is a super concentrated, you know, and one of the things I've learned is to use food as medicine. You know, I like to eat my food, let it be my medicine, but in some situations you may need a little bit higher dosages, and that's where some of these extracts could come into play. Now, besides the turmeric, they also got a ginger. So I mean, imagine if you're traveling or something, you could put some of this stuff in some water, shake it on up, a little bit of sweetener, and have your own ginger drink. Wow, oh my God, that went up my nose and it's burning, it's that strong. I mean, this is some of the highest quality stuff you could ever get, and you know, putting it in just a bottle of water, shake it up, and this is like the turmeric powder in there. So you get some rich antioxidants and the beneficial properties of the turmeric, you know, in a bottle if you're traveling, all this kind of stuff. And yeah, very important to stay hydrated. So that's pretty much it at the Health Matters America booth. You know, if you want to learn more about them, you can check them out at organictraditions.com. They definitely have some of the highest quality raw packaged ingredients that I've ever found. So now I'm going to get to share with you guys another booth here. It's actually called the Natural 360, and what they do is they basically get products from Japan and bring them into the United States and do distribution. So many of these products are traditional products that have been used in Japan for centuries that Americans can now have access to. So let's go ahead and go over there and show you guys some of the cool products that they have from Japan that may improve your life. So now I'm going to get to share with you guys the first product from Japan that I really like a lot. Check it out, it's right here. This is all in Japanese. If you guys are Japanese and you know what it says, but luckily they also have it in English. This is called the Mekabu. So this is a super sea vegetable. This is not just a sea vegetable, but it's a super sea vegetable because what it is, it's just not the top growth, you know, that most is commonly eaten as a sea vegetable. This is a rare delicacy in Japan. It's basically near the root zone of the seaweed. Seaweed doesn't technically have a root, but it's near the root, so it absorbs more nutrients than the top growth of the seaweed, and it's basically the bottom half of the wakame, and it has a unique flavor and unique properties. So let's go ahead and take a look. I mean, this is it soaking in water, and there's many uses for this. You know, number one, this is the whole seaweed soaked in water, and it's actually quite slimy, and it's really cool. I wish they could get it in this texture, but they actually chop it up and will sell it to you. But you could not only eat the seaweed here, you could also use the soak water. So the soak water is rich in nutrients. It's actually kind of slimy itself, which may help with many different conditions. And so, yeah, two of the things you could do there. And of course, you could just take it and eat it dried. So, you know, all the different seaweeds are really rich in minerals and all these different compounds that only the seaweeds make. And that's why I like to include them on a fairly regular basis in my diet. Now, yes, I eat way more vegetables, like land-grown vegetables and sprouts, than seaweeds, but I think they can play a healthy part of a healthy diet. Now, I know what some of you guys might be thinking, John, that's from Japan. There's a Fukushima in Japan, the radiation. Well, this is on the extreme other side of Japan, and they've done testing on this for radioactivity and all this kind of stuff, heavy metals, and this is clean is what they're telling me. So yeah, you could just take these guys, just eat it. Nice and crunchy. And let me tell you guys, I'd rather have Americans eating this instead of fried potato chips any day of the week. And you know what? The main thing I like about this seaweed, in this state, it just does not taste fishy at all. Some people hate that fishy taste that seaweed has, like kelp is pretty strong. This is really nice and mild. And furthermore, this is actually, you know, hand harvested and then sun dried. So this is truly a raw product, unlike others, you know, that may be in the marketplace. The Mekabu, definitely one of the best seaweeds that I've ever found. All right, so now for the next product, and no, it's not these soba noodles here behind me. It's another raw or living product. Now, the seaweed you guys just saw is sun dried, and that's, you know, one of the best natural methods for, you know, removing the water so that a product can be preserved. You know, another way that I really like to preserve my foods from my garden is fermentation. And what I'm going to share with you guys next are these two, not raw, but live foods, right? Why are they not raw, John, and how are they live? Well, let's talk about that. So what we're looking at here is a living soy sauce. So this soy sauce, you know, they have to cook the soybeans, and in the processing of making the soy sauce, so they cook it, and then after they cook it, then they inoculate it with the beneficial probiotics, the cultures that then break it down and turn it into the soy sauce here. So this is a living product. Now, you know, I really don't like to use a whole lot of soy sauce. I like the flavor a little bit, maybe over some cauliflower or rice bits, definitely good. And this is a living product, so it does have, you know, some nutrients in there and enzymes and all that good stuff. The product that I actually like a lot more is this stuff right here. This is insane. This is the living soy sauce Koji paste, and this is all in Japanese. But if we open this guy up here, you guys can see basically this is a Koji plus the soy sauce. So the Koji is basically fermented like a rice. And we're gonna go ahead and take a little spoonful, and that's what it looks like. This stuff, like, I like miso paste, which is another live or fermented food. But this stuff is like 10 times better to me than the miso. It has a really nice, rich, delicious, like, I know I can't describe it. It reminds me of a sauce I used to eat when I was like eating, you know, meats and stuff. But you get that umami flavor in the fermented foods that you just don't get in fresh fruits and vegetables, and that's why I like to include some fermented foods in my diet. Now, these does not make a large portion of my diet, but I like to have some as condiments to make things, you know, taste good like they used to taste, like when I used to go out to that Japanese restaurant when I was a kid. That I no longer do. All right, so I've saved the best for last, and the best product right here is right here. It's the raw Amazake nectar. This stuff has no agave nectar and actually no sweeteners in there, but is super sweet, super delicious. And what the raw Amazake nectar is, it's literally, basically they cook the rice, they ferment it, they put it in a bottle, they don't add any sweeteners, and that's what you get. And this is what it is. This is difficult to bring over from Japan in its raw state because it must be kept refrigerated the whole entire time, or it can actually go bad. And check it out. If this is just basically fermented cooked rice with the beneficial enzymes and different, you know, phytochemicals and phytonutrients in there, but I mean, that's amazing in itself, but the amazing part is when you taste it. Wow. I mean, literally, this tastes like rice pudding. So I mean, this is just literally rice. It's just fermented rice. You know, the bacteria in there break it down and turn it into the sugar and make the sugar available. It's so delicious. I can imagine putting in some cinnamon, some raisins, and you have some of the best living, you know, food rice pudding that you've ever eaten. Simply amazing. All right, so now I'm gonna get to share with you guys one of my favorite booths at this expo for raw food packaged product, and it's actually right behind me. It's actually the Wrawp. That's what the product is called, and this is you know, critical for many people that are into a raw foods diet and are not doing gluten and do not want to eat bread. Like, I don't believe bread is a healthy thing to eat, and you should be eating, especially with the gluten, and it's all cooked and highly processed using, you know, usually refined flours, not good. But the complete opposite is the Wrawp. You know, and let's go ahead and go over there and show you guys what they can be used for and how you could eat them and why they're so delicious. All right, so here are some of the different wraps that are available. You guys just saw, you know, some of the different things you can do with them. And, you know, they just have little sample sizes here just so that you guys could taste the flavor. It'd be cool if you could taste all the different ones and buy your favorite. That one's quite good. But this is how they come. They come in a package of 3, or there's like a bulk food service for food service places. You're gonna pull this out, you know, and instead of using like the Nori rolls, which, you know, are good to wrap things in, but they degrade really quickly, and then they have that kind of fishy flavor that many people don't like. With these raw vegan flatbreads, literally, you would cut this in half this way, and then you would be able to make 2 little like Nori style rolls and just, you know, fill them with fresh cut up vegetables and fruits and avocados and some nut pate or some nut sauce or whatever you want. It's completely delicious. I've been eating these for a number of years now, and I definitely say, you know, I've made some amazing, you know, snack dinner foods, you know, using the wraps. So I mean, the wraps are really cool just because they're a raw vegan flatbread substitute, you know, that you could eat plain, but I'd say don't waste eating them plain because you can make some amazing recipes out of them. And look, here's just one of the ideas. You can make a little raw vegan pizza using it, and you know, I always want to encourage you guys to use as many fresh ingredients as you possibly can. And yeah, as much as I like some dehydrated foods and these wraps, it allows me to eat more fresh fruits and vegetables, which is super valuable. The other thing that you're going to do is something like this, and this is the more common use for them. They got a whole tray full of different, you know, little bite-sized sandwiches, you know, with fresh fruits, fresh vegetables, you know, hummus, raw hummus, you know, cucumbers, avocados, lettuce. I've mixed sprouts in here. I've mixed, you know, diced up onions, tomatoes, bell peppers, all kinds of different stuff. And let me tell you, the wrap just fully completes it because when you bite into it, you feel the flavor of the wrap, but also the nice liquid texture of the raw foods inside. Super delicious. And now when you're ready for dessert, check it out what they got. You can make your own dessert wraps too. Like, imagine making some cinnamon rolls with one of the sweet wraps here. Basically what they have is just a dessert wrap with some dried fruits in there, some poppy seeds. Super simple, super delicious. I mean, besides just doing these kind of wraps, you could even make, you know, layer them up and make pancakes and put, like, you know, fresh fruit, the wrap, fresh fruit, the wrap, maybe some like blended dates and carob sauce, you know, on top, drizzle on. Oh, that'd be super delicious. They're gonna make like a cake. You could put like a wrap, some, you know, fruits, a wrap, some fruits, some dried fruits, and some fresh fruits, and stack it on up and cut them and serve them. They're gonna probably be at least as delicious as these guys. Wow, that's amazing. So if you want to learn more about the wraps, you can check them out and buy them online at wrawp.com. So last, I want to go over a few products that I really believe can make a difference in your healthy plant-based raw diet. Number one is that Mekabu seaweed. I mean, this is all packaged and it's still in all Japanese. This one is actually not currently being imported into the United States. I was technically their first order, or so they said. And this is a sun-dried, high-quality seaweed product. And you know, I really believe in my study of raw foods that one thing that's missing in people's diets, even if you're eating fruits and vegetables, is the trace minerals. Because agriculture of today, if you're not doing it yourself and adding trace minerals in, simply not putting trace minerals in, our body needs a whole complement of trace minerals to be optimally healthy. Yes, you could eat fruits and vegetables, be pretty healthy, but I want to get to the optimal level and have everything my body needs and not have to worry about taking a supplement or taking packaged products when my diet is deficient in. Yes, a raw food, plant-based diet can be deficient if you're not including a variety of foods and high quality foods at that. So I really like the seaweed, that it will hopefully be available. High quality seaweed, tastes really good, doesn't taste fishy, very important. So the product that I like the most from the 2015 Natural Products Expo West was the raw wraps. And you guys can see I have 4 different flavors in front of me. And this is the product that I believe could help the most people out there, you know, get the healthiest and turn them on into eating more fresh fruits and vegetables. I know many of you guys watching this may still be eating, you know, breads and sourdough breads and white breads and whole wheat breads and all this kind of stuff. And I'm not a big fan of the breads. I mean, we're not designed really to consume grain, in my opinion, maybe in some small amounts, but surely not when it's been, you know, grinded and fractionated and then highly cooked and fluffy and all kind of other monodiglyceride ingredients and all kind of additives and high calorie, low nutrients. I'd rather have something like the wraps here, which are raw vegan flatbreads made out of fruits and vegetables and some seeds and some spices to make it taste good. This can literally revolutionize the whole raw food industry. I mean, as much as I like seaweed and I use nori for wraps, you know, nori tends to fall apart. Some people say it tastes fishy and all this kind of stuff. These raw wraps are incredible. This can take the place of the bread that you're used to and a healthy version at that. And the reason why I like the wraps is because more often than not, as I have done and posted many pictures to my Instagram, and I'll post some pictures actually here right now. You can see some of the amazing creations I've made. And while I am using the dehydrated wrap that does contain fruits and vegetables and some nuts and some seasonings, I wrap it full of more fresh fruits and fresh vegetables. Things like tomatoes, things like cucumbers, things like peppers, things like microgreens that I grew myself, things like spiralized zucchini and chopped up lettuce and bean sprouts and tomatoes and all kinds of cool stuff. And that allows me to get more fresh fruits and vegetables in me. Plus it makes it fun, it tastes good. So even somebody like my parents who doesn't even eat that much raw food, they would surely love to eat one of these raw food wraps with fresh fruits and vegetables with some nice bread to make it more similar to like a burrito or eating something like they're used to. If you own a raw food restaurant out there and you're watching this, you guys need to get these wraps and serve this as one of your dishes that you have at your raw food restaurant. A popular chain store, health food store in Southern California, Mother's Market. You could go into any Mother's Market in their deli counter and they have raw wraps using these wraps and just filling it with fresh fruits and veggies, to provide people a healthier alternative. And that's one of the things that I love to get when I'm in town visiting mothers. It's just simple, easy to go. Of course, you could also do it yourself. Just buy the wraps, roll it up with some avocado, some kind of nice sauce, and even beyond just making the wraps with the vegetables, you can even make it into dessert. So I'm looking forward to experimenting more with the raw wraps and making a lot more cool wraps. And hopefully, if you guys give me a thumbs up, let me know. I'll make some recipes using the wraps and show you guys how you could use them and all the things you can do with these amazing raw wraps and vegan raw flatbreads, that you could get the bread out of your life and get more fresh fruits and vegetables in your life. And that's pretty much my message today that I want to leave you with. As much as I like a lot of the different products, the basis of my diet, 95% plus of my diet, is fresh fruits and fresh vegetables. And that's what I believe every American should be eating: a high quantity of fresh fruits and vegetables and minimize the processed foods. And if you already eat some processed foods, like I've shown you in this video, have some minimally processed foods like these raw wraps here that are super uber delicious. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. Be sure to subscribe if you're not already. Be sure to check the links down below for my past episodes where I go to the Natural Products Expos, which is the trade show and only open to the wholesale trade if you own like a business owner or a store, to find out the latest and greatest products coming out. And be sure to check my past episodes. I have over 400 episodes now on all aspects on teaching you guys how to eat the healthiest plant-based raw food diet out there anywhere. And if you want to learn how to grow your own food, be sure to visit me at growingyourgreens.com, where I teach you guys how to grow your own food. And in the end, I want to say, as much as this video was about products, I want you guys to, instead of being a productarian, and consume products, I want you guys to be a produce-arian. And I'll have to thank my friend Dr. Rick Diener for making up that saying. I want you guys to be a produce-tarian or a grow-a-tarian or a garden-tarian and grow your own food and eat your own food, because simply that's the best food. And we want to get out of this consumerism society, at least, by the inch it's a cinch and by the yard it's hard. So a little bit at a time, start growing your own, eating your own, making your own things fresh at home instead of having to buy all these products. Hope you guys enjoyed this episode. Once again, my name is John Kohler with OKRaw.com. We'll see you next time, and until then, remember, keep eating your fresh fruits and vegetables. They're always the best.
All right, this is John Kohler with OKRaw.com. Today I have another exciting episode for you, and where I'm at, I'm currently traveling here in Southern California. I'm going to be attending the 2015 Natural Products Expo West. And stay tuned to subscribe for my next video on the Natural Products Expo West.